we're talking about, why don't you go ahead and tell us what happened in your last round?
All right. So basically, I'm X and 2, and so is my opponent, obviously, and he's playing Blue White Control. I'm playing Naya Shaman, and we're running out of time. And I could see that Game 3 is never going to happen because he wins the second game with only 20 seconds left. So he really spent the majority of the time during the match because he's the Blue White Control player. And there was even a turn where he could have just killed me, but he randomly played a bunch of walls and the preordains, and instead of just activating his colonnade and attacking me. So like that gave me an extra turn to draw another blocker to like stall for a turn and try to get there. So it just kept dragging out, and it was all his fault. So Game 3 comes around, the judge is sitting right there. Clearly we can't start because time is already over. So I asked him, what do you want to do? Because we're both going to draw, effectively knocking ourselves out of the money even, and he says, well, we're going to draw, I guess. And I'm like, well, you realize that we're just going to knock each other out. And he says, well, there's no reason for me to concede. So I tell him, well, I mean, I guess, but do you want me to concede? He's like, well, yeah, you should just concede then. So, I mean, I just conceded. Now, I guess like you could just be spiteful and just say, all right, fine, we'll both draw, and I'll just drop now, And I was tempted. I was very close to doing it, but it doesn't make any sense. And like the way that I grew up playing Magic, all the other players that I played with, I mean, it's just second nature. You do something like that in that situation. One of you concedes.
Why? Why is it that one of you concedes?
I mean, I don't know. I guess you could argue that you shouldn't because you just always play it out. You never concede ever in Magic. And I know there's people that think that way, but like,
clearly you're in a situation where you can't play. Like, the game has played itself out, and you're going to draw, right? So it's not like you're just deciding, I'm giving up for today. Mm-hmm. You're both knocked out, right? So it's not like you aren't willing to play. That's not really the question. The question is, why give your opponent basically a gift in that situation?
Well, I never saw the movie Pay It Forward, but I know what it's about. And there's also like a State Farm commercial where like some guy does a good deed for a girl, and like this black guy sees him do it, so he does a good deed for this other woman, and then like another woman sees that good deed, and it just goes forward, and you figure people are just gonna keep paying it forward, So you figure like if you just do something like this for someone, then the next time they're in this situation, maybe they'll remember it and they'll do the same thing,
So you'd say then it's just altruism, right?
Yeah, it's like I mean, it's hard to convince someone to say, oh, I want you to concede to me. And like, I don't blame him for not conceding. It's just that we can't draw. Like, that's my belief. We just can't draw in that situation. So, I mean, I'm not going to be spiteful and just, you hope that he's reasonable and realizes that the burden was on him. But like, this happened to me multiple times before, and I see it happen. And if you grow up as a pro, like surrounded by pros and stuff, and you keep playing against each other over and over again, that's just second nature. Like, everyone does it. Even if you're not good friends with a guy, you're still just going to do it. And I've done it before. Other pros have done it for me before. It just happens.
So if the situation, in this circumstance, you guys weren't playing a game, so it wasn't really clear who might win. If the situation were you get to Game 3, time's called, neither of you is going to win, but you're clearly going to win if you have another turn.
That's happened to me,
Do you still concede to the opponent?
Well, like in Grand Prix Minneapolis, like a couple of years ago, the one that Alex Lieberman won and lost to Herbos, Herbos lost them in the finals. We're playing for day 2, and it's Game 3, and I clearly am winning. Like, my opponent's playing gifts. He's got no cards in his hand, and I just attacked him with Ink Eyes, getting his Kakusho, and he untaps, and that's game. Like, we draw. So I have a Kakusho, Ink Eyes in play, and he's clearly dead next turn. Like, there's really nothing he can do, and he just has a land in his hand. So I ask him, I'm like, well, if we both draw, we're just knocked out of day 2. And back then it was like, that was it. There's no pro points, there's no amateur prize, like, that's it. So I say, like, do you want to concede to me? Because like, it's clearly evident that I'm winning, and I know it kind of stinks, but it's better than both of us just getting knocked out. And I didn't tell him I was going to give him anything, because clearly you can't do that, but you just assume that they're going to make the right decision. But he didn't. He just was adamant about it. So I had to concede to him.
Why you say had to concede like there's some galactic law that says you have to concede there?
Well,
but that's not the case. What was it? Is it just that altruistic nature? You feel injustice?
Part of it is that if a draw results in you getting knocked out of the tournament, just the way that I grew up playing the game, it's just built in. It's just instinctual. Like, that's what happens. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Just like that's what happens. Like if you ever watch Gabe Walls, if you ask Gabe Walls the same question, like he gives you the same answer. Jelger Biegersman, same answer. Like all those pros, they're like that's second nature. That's what you're supposed to do in that situation.
Now you said it was a sense of altruism that makes you feel like you should.
Like let me put it this way: Gabe Walls is playing against Sam Stein at U.S. Nationals like 3 years ago, I think, 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm watching the match because I built Gabe's deck and I'm really hoping he makes it. So it's game 3. And they're both in contention for top 8, but Gabe's breakers are like infinitely better. So he's a lock if he wins. Sam Stein might make it, but probably not. He'll probably come in 9th or 10th. So game 3 can't start. There's no clear indication of who's going to win. Gabe's on the play, but that doesn't really mean anything. The matchup's pretty even. So Gabe just asked him. He's like, "Do you want to concede? I mean, we both knock each other out of top 8. It's nationals. It's not like there's pro points on the line. Do you want to concede to me because I have a better shot at making top 8? Sam says no. Without thinking, Gabe says, "Are you sure?" Sam says no again, so Gabe's like, "All right, fine, I'll concede to you." I would have done the same thing in that situation. Like, it's just stupid for you both to draw and knock each other out. Because, like, if you draw there, you might not even make top 16, so it's like, it's just so silly.
Now, do you feel, in that situation, even if Sam or Gabe, whoever gets the concession, makes it, that means there's someone in 9th place who misses because those 2 players didn't draw themselves out of the top 8. Do you feel like it's unfair to that player? Or is it not unfair because you can't see them at the time?
I don't really think about the other stuff because, like...
the consequences it can make you feel bad?
I mean, listen, I'm not saying it's a right or a wrong thing. I'm just saying that's what I always do. And that's what I know a lot of my friends that I grew up playing Magic do, too. Just because it just seems so senseless to just like if I know a friend of mine might make it, then maybe, but I've never been in a situation like that.
Playing devil's advocate, you're saying it feels senseless that the match should end the way the match was supposed to end. Is that what you're saying?
I guess. I mean, I'm not saying there's logic behind it. I'm just saying it's a feeling I have. It's like I don't understand why you wouldn't just concede. Hoping that maybe you're doing a good thing, you're doing a good deed for someone, And yeah, maybe I'm screwing a guy who came in 9th who would have made a top 8, but it's like, I don't know, it seems so silly to just be like, oh, so spiteful. Like, all right, fine, we're both going to draw and knock each other out. Like, I don't know, it just seems silly.
Okay, has it ever come up where you've scooped a player into day 2 or top 16 or top 8, and then later you've come across them and either it's come back to you or...
The guy that I scooped in Minneapolis, I ran into him again in Salt Lake City, the next Grand Prix, same thing, Kamigawa block. And he sat next to me one round, and he was like, "Hey, man, I really didn't know what you were doing last round," which I kind of knew. I thought he was kind of new to the scene, and he didn't really understand that it makes no sense for us to draw. And he goes, "Yo, you know what? You did me a solid. I apologize for being such a jerk if I seemed that way." And I'm like, "All right, that's cool," And, we went out for beers later on, but, it just... sometimes turns out that way, and sometimes it turns out like today, where
let's say you're at a local Friday Night Magic and you're teaching a new class of tournament players. Do you instruct them to follow in your footsteps? Do you not say anything about that sort of psychology, or is it something you leave to them?
I don't think it's something you want to teach someone. It's the Pro Tour is a lot different nowadays than it was when I started playing Magic. And the people that I played with are mostly gone now. They're all like poker players, so their mentality is more aligned with that type of thinking. So the people now, like moto grinders, like there's no way Colosso Fuentes would ever do something like that. Like it's just a different breed of Magic player today than it was back then. And I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm just saying it's a different thought process, a different mentality. So I probably wouldn't teach it to a player today. I would just say, if they ever ask me like what happens in this situation, I would tell them what I would do, but I wouldn't recommend they do it. It's just the way I was brought up playing Magic.
Do you feel that puts old school quote players at a disadvantage because they're always going to be the ones who are willing to concede?
I guess I don't know many because we're older too, and we're a little more sensible. I think the 20-year-old self of me might have just been like, screw you, let's just knock each other out. But like I'm 30 now, so I'm not nearly as vindictive as I was. But I don't know. I mean, I guess if any young player sees this video, and he's in a situation with me, he knows just to hold his ground. But maybe I'll change my thought process going forward. But I don't know. This situation doesn't come up that often, where you both are going to knock each other out for nothing. So I don't know. I guess, maybe it does put us at a disadvantage.
Closing thoughts on the subject for viewers at home.
I wouldn't recommend scooping to anyone. I don't think that's a good practice in general. But, sometimes it's just a game, Like, I don't know. I just feel like that maneuver seems so spiteful sometimes. And I know that that's the natural state of the game and you might be screwing someone else. But it's like if I'm playing against a little kid and I don't know whether or not he's fully kind of understands the situation. And you can't really go into detail because there's judges around and I don't know what the legalities and everything. But I don't know. Just go with your gut. Go with what you feel is right,